Okay, so we've got our little divot here. If we go back, we've got our text here. To make this text easier to place, like I can append this and move it around and scale it down, but what I'm going to do is just hit, I get kills Camtasia here. I'm going to instead hit B, create insert mesh, new, and you can also go into, we grab the brush menu here, just click this little white thing and just drag it over. You can go here, we can do create insert mesh in there as well. What we did was we just created an insert mesh brush that now I can go back to our weapon that we're working on. And then with this little space in here, we have the barrel support selected. That'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag our text on here. Now we're going to be not going to be able to see it because we have live Boolean turned on, and it's just, if we turn off live Boolean, you're going to see, if we go to solo mode here, it's just masking and dragging on our text right on that object here. So what I'm going to do instead is keep live Boolean off, and we'll just drag our text out. And it's also, whenever you drag an insert mesh brush onto an object, it inherits the properties of the previous mesh. So what it's doing right now is, it's why it's being so slow, is it's dynamically subdividing as I drag that out. So if I do Shift D, that'll turn off dynamic subdivide. It'll still inherit those properties, but it'll allow me to kind of drag out a little bit faster. So, and you can also hold down Shift as you're dragging out, and that'll kind of constrain it to the left and the right. Let's do Shift D again. There you go. So we've got our text on there. I'm going to go ahead and again, under your Subtotal Split menu, I'm going to use my custom menu here. You can go to Split to Unmask Points. That's going to put it below here. It's going to make it subtractive. So now, if I do D to turn dynamic back on, and then I select my text here, it's already subtractive because it was split from a subtractive mesh. If I hit D here, it's going to inherit the dynamic properties from our original mesh here. If I don't want that, I'll just do Shift D, and then I'll go ahead and turn that off. And then if I turn my live Boolean render back on, you're going to see if I keep pushing this in, it's going to start subtracting that text from our object here. So in order to get this placed, I'm again going to go back here. We have LSym turned on, so we can turn on live symmetry. We do have one problem. On this side, we had X turned on, so under transform, activate symmetry, it's doing it across the x-axis because it's a symmetrical object. But we have made in ZBrush, and then we have Niem Diamterbrush. So we're going to have to go ahead and split this off and rotate it around and mirror it. Not a big deal, but I'll show you how to do that when we get there. So first of all, let's position this text. So we're just going to go ahead and scale this down, make sure it's positioned somewhere in there. And now two considerations. Number one, do you want this pushed in? If you want it pushed in, you're fine. If you want it to actually be bumped out, you're going to want to hit this additive. So now it's going to, it's order of operations. You've got the barrel support here, which is this area, this big block right here. You've got the little cutout here, and now you've got your text. So it's going here, it's subtracting this out, and then it's adding this. And then if you want it to be bumped out, then you just put a little bumped out text in here, and now it is bumped out text. So I'm going to go ahead and make this additive. I'm trying to think what else we needed to do. I think that'll work for what we want. And then, oh yeah, we were going to make this so that the text is fine. So I'm going to go into solo mode here so we can see it. This side on the right, I don't want. If I could, I guess, a couple different ways I could do this. Let me go and get rid of this. What I can do is I can delete this side, duplicate this one, rotate it around, and then mirror it over. But I should be able to if I just turn off X symmetry. If I don't turn off X symmetry and I mask, it's going to mask both sides. I just want to mask one side, so I'm going to tap X to toggle off transform X symmetry. Mask this one side, Control tap to invert that, or in ZBrush 4.8, Control drag, hold down Alt, and that'll mask everything except for what you had unmasked. Hit E to go into, or W to go into move mode. Hold down Alt. Let's go to Unmask Mesh Center. Snap to the top. Hold down Alt and reset this if you need to. And now you can just hold down Shift and rotate this 180 degrees. So now that we've got this made in ZBrush correct on both sides, we can go out of solo mode here. And now you're going to see. And again, we can on the fly just make this text subtractive if we want, or additive, or we can do an intersection as well, but that's not going to do you much good. So we'll go ahead and make that additive here.